So today I'm going to go over a few things, adding to the Kings Bork. Of course, you have the first window here. Still does all of the original things that the Kings Bork did. Then I added Bork 2, Electric Boogaloo. And it's basically just the GUI from the tutorial that I did. I might as well add this on there. People can use this as an example. Maybe they didn't like the other one. I don't know. The important part is the King Study, which is the edition here, where you can kind of read books or make it whatever you want. This is just an example. Okay, so going over some of the elements, I have my background here, and then I have my portrait study. And then right after that, I put this other icon. This icon is meant to go in front of the player so that way it covers up all the unnecessary stuff that I don't need seen. And it gives it the appearance of the person being behind the desk or the table. So here you have all of your resources, some that are used, some that are not. Maybe you can use them, I don't know. If you go into books, this is where all your book icons will be, as well as the background for the book. So going into the background, take a look at this. This is a regular 2D image, and this is the foreground that I created. Can't really see it, but there's a blue rays that I put in there with paint to simulate some of the sunlight that takes place in the original picture, so that way it'll go over. Now I tried to add some pink behind it so you can see it better, but that didn't work out at all. I should have picked like a darker color, but I already recorded it, so I just used it because I'm lazy like that. Going back, this is kind of right here what I was trying to do, and you'll see that it gets covered up by the player, but then I add some more blue over the player, and it kind of looks like the sunlight is hitting them directly. I'm going to delete all the stuff that I don't need from Kings Bork here in a little bit. I really don't know what I was trying to show here, other than there's a lot of stuff that I'm going to delete. Okay, going on to how to make books. So inside the GUI, shared W book, this is where the template is for each individual book. Book 1, book 2, so on and so forth. So you just copy the last book, which was book 2, and you change about 4 things, and then boom, you have another book. So set book 2, you replace it with set book 3. Don't touch any of that, just hit place and move on to the next one. B2C, the naming convention goes book 2 chapter 1, 2, 3, so just replacing book 2 chapter. So book 3 chapter, so you can create infinite books. And then lastly, I start looking for any references to book 2, and it's just book 2. I don't know how I could forget that, but I did. So book 2 and book 3. The last thing here I'm going to change is the title. The title just refers to the title of the book on the first page on the left hand side. So title 1, 2, 3, 4 to 100 to whatever you want. Copy, paste it back inside the W book, essentially the book widget. Change it to 3. Go back to your study interface. copy and paste the last one, make it 3 instead of 2, make book 3 instead of 2, and then you're done. So luckily for you, I did a lot of the localization beforehand, all the way to book 9. So if you make more than 9 books, you're going to have to make your own copy and paste localization. As you can see, all you have to do is just add the book number and then just write your localization. Don't touch anything unless you know what you're doing down there. And if you do, then okay. So this is where all the main book stuff is. As you can see, Title 1, Title 2, Title 3, and then the chapters. And then the actual chapter writing in there, you could put whatever you want. It's done all the way to 3 because I'm a swole guy. Book 9, I don't know why I said 3. Through this section in here, just in case you're confused as to where to get to the W book. It's right next to the portrait GUI from the original tutorial. By the way, you might be confused on a lot if you haven't watched the original tutorial. So watch that. I'll probably make more of these. Okay, it's just verifying from the beginning. And last thing is the tooltip. You can have a tooltip for your book. You're going to go into the scroll box towards the bottom. That is where that right hand side is, where all your books are going to populate. You have your book tooltip there, and these are all localized at the last location. As you can see here, these were all your tooltips, your description of the book, whatever you want to put in there. And that is the code to localize it. Alright, so this is the last section of that's great, but how do I get the books inside the member? And I just did a catch-all on action right at the beginning of the game. I just added every living character, add this book listing, essentially. So if you want to make a book, it's just a flag, throw it inside of my books, and then it'll show. So I didn't use enabled inside the GUI because it is only showing books that they do have, so I don't know why you would enable or disable a book. But if you can, if you want to do that, just do that via the SGUIs located here. Just add it for your conditions on enabling and disabling. That's all here.